you can see me, confirm you can hear me. Elizabeth Omorare, the convener of Pearls and Gemstones tribe. It's a community for singles in their waiting season. 12 ways to partner with God in your waiting season. Biblical stories that communicate principles to guide and prepare singles for marriage. I believe that the waiting season is meant to be maximized. And if you're a single in waiting, this book was written specifically for you. Go get your copy, go to my handle on Instagram, Elise to get a copy of the book as well. It will bless you, right? I talked extensively about preparation, identity, soul ties, lies that women must never believe, past experiences being your unique story, trusting your intuition, boundaries, understanding that your words are like an ark of covenant, and complexities of contemporary relationships. The last two chapters on self-care and communication. This book is a must read. If you have singles as your friends, get a copy for them, and if you're a single in waiting, get a copy for yourself. Journey to Enthronement. So we're talking about the Esther Curriculum, a story of courage, leadership, sacrifice, and faith. A singles guide to preparation and enthronement. So the book of Esther is very interesting, right? And it's strategic. A lot happened there. Esther, Haman, Mordecai, and Xerxes. So we're told that there was a banquet that was going on, right? And Xerxes said in the book of Esther, and that lasted for I think over 180 days thereabout. And that went on and on and on. We were told that the Persians were known to celebrate with a lot of wine, so they were under the influence of wine. They would drink even to take critical decisions. They would have to be under the influence of wine. They would drink before those critical decisions. So that was what happened. And Esther happens to be in the mix. So Queen Vashti was the queen. And so King Xerxes had asked her to come present herself. History has it, I don't know if it's true, but we know that she refused to come out, right? She refused to honor the request of the king. History had it that he wanted to make a show of her because he recorded that she was beautiful. He wanted to make a show of her, and he wanted her to come just to show off in a way that would not really define who a queen was, and she refused. And that was how her throne became vacant, and Esther came in to take up that position. But before then, he had asked his advisors, right, asked them that what can they do, what should he do, because Vashti has disobeyed his orders. And when we are told, history also has it that Xerxes was a there was something going on with him, so many things that he had done in the past. There was a time that brought it to him asking that his only son should not be, his friends should not be taken in as a soldier into battle. And we're told that Zax returned the gift and asked that the son, that party, the son of that man, be sawn into two, and then the army marched in between two halves, the halves in between the two halves of his body parts placed at several meet him anyhow. You didn't know what to expect based on his reactions or whatever it was that happened. And so this was Xerxes, and he had asked Vashti to come present herself before him. Of course, and she refused, and her throne was vacant. But there are some points that I want to raise. When he had asked for counsel, what happened? They said that he should dethrone, pardon, they said that he should dethrone um, Queen Vashti, that he should declare her position vacant. And it was more or less like they really had plans even before all of that happened. So unfortunately for Vashti, she played into their hands, and so her throne was declared vacant, even though she hadn't really done anything wrong. Because the book of Esther also records that after that whole incident happened, King Xerxes was later felt sober and remorse. He felt pity for her because, of course, he had given the order. Queen Vashti had left, and then the position was vacant. And then they still told him that he should declare a beauty banquet and pick a virgin, somebody that would take over Queen Vashti's position. And so, where am I going to? The Persians were known to be heavy on wine, to always be under the influence of wine, especially when they want to take critical decisions. So, you as a single, before you step into decide that you want to become a part of a family, you need to go and investigate their background, their history, their ideologies, their beliefs. Don't just do it blindly, so that you know what you're going into, and you decide that okay, I'm ready to handle all of this. And then that doesn't rule out the place of discernment. You also have to be discerning to know what God is asking you to do and the position you must take, because marriage was instituted by God, and of course he had a plan from the onset, from the beginning, on the agenda, the kingdom agenda. And that's why marriage helps to amplify, to really fast track the move of God, right? And so that said, so Esther had to go through this 12-month period of preparation, 6 months with oils of myrrh, then 6 months with perfumes and cosmetics and the rest. And so on your journey to enthronement, like I said in this book, there are some belief systems that won't serve you any longer. You have learned from a lot of people. You are now an adult. There are some things, because growth is you're growing. Your growth is progressive. So as you learn certain things, you have to unlearn beliefs. You have to unlearn some patterns that you have picked. You have to unlearn certain traits, character defects that you have carried on, that will no longer serve you in this phase you step into as a man. So there are some things that you have to, and it comes from it's going to come from a lot of, from the place of awareness, you understanding who you are, what you need to change, the belief systems you need to drop, and what you need to pick up, right? So you have to be self-aware. You have to understand who you are to be able to navigate this terrain, understanding who you are. So Esther was an orphan, and Mordecai had to take up the position of priest, and he trained her and groomed her for the palace. He had been within the palace for a while, so he understood the tenets, what was happening, what Esther needed to do, how she needed to compose herself, present herself, how she needed to step into those shoes as queen. And we're told that the instructions that Mordecai gave her, she took them. So singles, you must have a mentor, somebody you look up to, somebody that gives you counsel and advice on, because they have seen ahead of you, they have gone ahead of you, they've experienced certain things, and you don't have to live those experiences. You don't have to learn from those experiences yourself. You just have to, watch and have somebody in your circle, somebody that prepares you for enthronement, that prepares you for that throne, prepares you for marriage. Have a picture of somebody whose marriage is thriving. Have that picture at the back of your mind. Create a vision board. Have it so that you know that even while you wait, it's your season of taking root. You are learning, you are pruning yourself, you are growing, you are becoming a better version of yourself. And I think I said it previously that you have to become a certain type of person so that your type, your kind can gravitate towards you. Be the person that you hope to get married to. Through this 12-month season, it it had to be a painful process, because we're told that those oils were used for dead bodies. All of myrrh were used for dead bodies, and that was also meant to heal scars. So for that environment in which Esther was, identity had to emerge, and that's why she had to go through that process. And she listened to Mordecai and obeyed, took instructions on what she needed to do part time. And that was how, they said the Bible records that she found favor before Hagar, and he continued to groom her, he continued to groom her. So there's something I want to say. it said that before people, we are not people, human beings are social beings. We are all social beings, right? So before a person, and this is mostly for guys, before they go asking a girl out, they would ask questions. They would try to find out, get information from people around to know who the girl is, the kind of person that she is, and all of that. And so, what track record have you lived all these years? What kind of person are you? Are you in control of your emotions? Do you have a good character? Are your values in check? Do you have boundaries? Because if they ask questions like they say, who is this person? If the report that goes forth is nothing to write home about, then the person doesn't even want to approach you. And sometimes the report will be false because the experience the person was had with you, or the interaction they had with you was on a day that you were under the weather, but it wasn't a good, it wasn't a good day for you, right? And that's why when your emotions are in check and you're able to balance these things, you have emotional intelligence, you know how to relate with people, you know how to control your emotions, you know when to stop, you know how to express yourself, you know how to communicate. These things are important. These are important. And Esther was told not to reveal her identity yet because Mordecai knew what he was doing. Now, the Bible also records that Haman was always, he hated Mordecai because he would never bow to Mordecai at any point in time. And that's because of his identity. He knew who he was and that he could not bow to Haman. And so, do you really know who you are as a sinner? If you know who you are, there are certain things you won't do, there are certain places you won't go, there are people you won't interact with. It's just simple because you know who you are, you understand who you are. There are consecrations you must keep because of who you are. There are people, communities, tribes that you will not mingle with, you will not associate with because you know who you are. I think I spoke a lot extensively about associations in the previous videos that I did on the complexities of contemporary relationships. So association and environment is a big deal. It can change because human beings have mirror neurons. So you might be absorbing certain things happening in your environment without your knowledge, and you just discover that you know over time you begin to behave a certain way, which you. So you have to be mindful of your space, the people you interact with, the communities you belong to, those you keep in your sphere of influence. You have to be mindful of this. So Esther surrounded herself. She had Haggai and she had Mordecai to groom her and prepare her for the palace. And so she was courageous. Now when she stepped into the palace, we were told that before Mordecai, a plot had gone, there was King Xerxes killed, and Mordecai was able to reveal that through Esther to the king, but he was not rewarded. So there was this night that King Xerxes could not sleep, and he just asked that the books of the record be brought to him, and it was brought to him. And he read that part where the plot was unveiled and was unraveled, and he discovered that Mordecai had exposed those two officials and wanted to kill King Xerxes, and so he asked that what must be done for the person who the king wants to reward. And I believe that that was God working behind the scenes for Mordecai, because we are told that he couldn't sleep, and the first person that came into his court after that period of going through the records was Haman. And Haman thought that the king wanted to honor him, right? He thought the king wanted to honor him, and so he said, what must be done for the man who the king wants to honor? And Haman, thinking that it was him, told him that he should be placed on a horse, worn the royal robe, and taken around the town, a lot of that. And the book of Esther records that King Haman immediately. And because Mordecai decided that he was not going to bow to Haman, now he was not forced to have Mordecai ride on a horse and then take him round town to announce to everybody that this is the man who the king has wants to please, a man who the king has found favor with and wants to reward, So it was shameful for him because before that time he had been very angry and bitter and wanted to even destroy not just Mordecai but his entire clan. He didn't just want to destroy Mordecai but his entire clan. How wicked can a person be? And so he had to do that. So he went back after he had done all of that. He went back in shame to his wife and his friends and narrated the whole thing, that this was what just happened to me. I was humiliated and everything. And then the wife told him that the way Mordecai is going, you have to be very careful because his plans might be working out, in the sense that very soon he might, his position might, he might overthrow Haman, in that sense that he can't really destroy him. With the way Mordecai is going, he can't really destroy him because Haman sought to destroy Mordecai. And so he deceived King Xerxes to go and have him sign a decree that the Jews should be eliminated, right? But he didn't know that Esther was a queen. Esther was a Jew, pardon me. And so when Mordecai realized this, we are told that he was bitter, he was sad, he wore sackcloth, tore his clothes, and told the Jews that this was what had been issued and decreed, and that something had to be done. So he sent for Esther and said that, told Esther, no, Esther realized that she was told that Mordecai was wearing sackcloth and that something was up with him. And so she asked them to find out, to inquire, to know what really was up with Mordecai. And so Mordecai sent a message to her that this is the decree that has been passed, and she shouldn't think that because she's in the palace. So this means that at every point in time, you have to be prayerful as a single, because a lot of people are moving around, people we live life on a daily basis. You interact with people on a daily basis. You don't know who is angry or upset at you. You don't know what you're doing that is making somebody else angry, even if you haven't done anything. You do, because life is spiritual. So you can't take things on face value. You have to be careful. The people you interact with, the people you communicate with, the things you say, how you live, the way you behave, you have to be careful, because Mordecai really didn't do anything wrong, but Haman hated him for who he was. He hated him for who he was and sought to destroy him, not just him, to destroy him and his clan. So you have to be very prayerful. You have to be careful the way you live your life. And then again, the enemy knows that if he can get you connected with the prototype, the person that God has designed for you, of course, your marriage is going to be used by God for kingdom agenda. So he try to get you to make rash decisions. He try to get you into a state where you start questioning things. You start questioning the fatherhood of God, asking if God loves you. Age is not on your side, and then societal pressure and all of that. All of these are issues that singles face, but you have to be rooted in your identity, understand who you are, that God instituted marriage and He has a plan for you, and His plan is the best for you. So to be fulfilled. Then again, you also have to use this season to take root. So use it as an expression of what, or an expression or an expression, an outlet for of your expression to God, in the sense that you use it as you sow it as a seed to bless others. So sow it as a seed to bless others. Use it as a point of reference, in the sense that you ask yourself, who are those around me that can be a blessing to in this season that I'm waiting on God? What has God endowed me with? What gifts and talents do I have? How can I use this to glorify God, to serve my world, to help those that are in need? So these are some of the things that you can do in your waiting season. Taking root, understanding your identity, who you are in Christ, and never settling. And so Esther was called into the palace for such a time as this, because she needed to re strategize. The Bible recorded that the king had not sent for her for over a month, and she dare not appear before the king without being summoned or asked to come before the king. So it was a matter of life and death. She had to ask that he pray and fast for her. So that when she comes before the king, will stretch forth his scepter and ask that she comes. And that was what happened. The king listened to her. She was calm. She was calm. And the way the whole thing happened, it was God orchestrating events, because if she had not gone in at that point in time, Haman already had his plans, and the decree had already been signed. The day had been fixed for the Jews to be eliminated, to be executed. Was able to liberate the Jews. Until today, we're told that they still celebrate that feast of Purim, right? And so Esther rose and was a deliverer in that season and in that time. So even after she stepped into the palace, she didn't forget who her uncle was, because he was still there to groom her, teach her, tell her how to live her life as a queen. And that's why mentorship is very important. Mentorship is very important for a single. Okay, and so wrapping this up, you understand that he had invited her for invited the king and Haman for a banquet. Meanwhile, he had set up a gallows where he was going to hang Mordecai on, right? His friends and his wife advised him that he should set up a gallows where he would hang Mordecai on. And it was just a lot. Like, Haman had a lot planned for Mordecai, but God was in control to vindicate him. So a couple of prayers to pray as a single. Pray for favor, that you will wear this as a mantle. Esther wore favor as a mantle, because anywhere she went, she found favor. Pray for mercy, that the enemy will not sift you as wheat, as chaff, pardon me. Pray for your future spouse. Pray about your marriage. Ask that God Himself will go ahead of you to give you discernment, so that when the person finds you, and when you find about your marriage, pray about your spouse, that he would locate you at the right time, and that you will not want your mate, right? You will not want your mate. Pray that you will be surrounded by mentors like Mordecai, who will prepare you for. And I hope this has really blessed you and encouraged you as a single in waiting. There's a whole lot you can do while you wait on God, while you trust God for your life partner. There's a whole lot you can do. So you must live your life circumspectly. You must understand that there are consecrations you must keep as a child of God. You must know that you can't just live your life anyhow. You can't just associate with any kind of person. You investigate, you work on your communication, you work on your boundaries, set boundaries, and communicate this effectively. Like I said, there's a whole lot that I shared in this book, Journey to Enthronement. Go get a copy today. It will help you. Or get a copy for your friends who are singles in their waiting season. And so wrapping this that then she wouldn't have had the courage to go before King Xerxes to even ask for the liberation of the Jews. And she had faith that God was working things out. So there's the preparation season and there's the enthronement season, where she had to go through purification. She was favored, and God helped her to be enthroned as queen. And then higher. I don't see any questions. If you have any questions, please drop them here quickly. I'll drop the link in the description on how you can get a copy of Journey to Enthronement. Thank you for joining me today. Do have a lovely day. Bye.